everyone, it's Jill. Look at my fancy new shirt. Andrea got it for me for my birthday. She's been sending me packages as I approach 60. So, Father's Day is Sunday, and was reminiscing about some of the things my dad taught me about business and people, and they've all turned out to be true. And one of the last conversations I had with him when he was sick, I'm sitting at his house and I'm talking about work. I started this company with Andrea, and we were really just over our first year. And he told me that if people knew the incredible odds I was facing in my life, where I am now an owner of a company and recognized in my field, people would be shocked. And yeah, so to all you dads, happy Father's Day. To my dad, wherever he is, and it's in heaven. That conversation really changed how I looked at myself and how I looked at our work. And good times. Okay, so Andrea sends me this email, but the subject line says, don't read these until you are taping. So I don't know what these are, and I'm a little worried because when I called her to tell her I was doing these, she started laughing, like a maniacal laugh, like not just like, ha ha ha, you're gonna find it so funny. So I'm a little worried. Here's the paper. All right. Best not to read in advance. LOL. Well, that seemed wrong. Okay. Recently, two cities in Nevada were granted the authority to authorize charters. Way back when, many in the charter space had ongoing conversations about municipalities as authorizers and about having more authorizers generally. Weigh in on cities being authorizers, yay or nay, and please discuss. Well, it's really hard. I didn't read it and I couldn't really think about it. So if I go off the top of my head, I think if you live in a progressive city that acknowledges the district traditional schools are not working in the way they're supposed to, then hell yeah, charter those schools. But also it could be a problem because if it is a very political city and teachers unions, not anti-teacher union, if teachers unions are weighing in, it can make it very, very difficult. But hey, if a city wants to be an authorizer and part of that guarantee is you have to find this school a facility, you have to have the per pupil follow them, then yes. It would be super bad if cities were authorizers, and when politics change, so can the authorizing environment. What two cities in Nevada were granted the authority to authorize? Oh, Las Vegas, right? Was authorized. I mean, listen, part of the city's doing it as well as what are the national resources available to groups who are authorizers? We already saw what NACSA did. Take a look at SUNY that they put as a high bar. Like the more bureaucratic, the better. So unless somebody is actually saying to them, this is what autonomy and innovation look like while still holding an accountability standard, then yeah, I'm all for it. But they have to do it with companies other than NACSA and other people who are bureaucratic nightmares. Okay. I don't know if that answered it, Andrea, but I'm totally thrown off. But now I got to find that other city in Nevada. Do you find it odd? This is question number 2. Do you find it odd that the New York Board of Regents wants to rid high school students of the need to pass tests to graduate? I'm very sorry. Do you find it odd that the New York Board of Regents wants to rid high school students of the need to pass tests to graduate? Yet they insist on making teacher candidates take lots of classes and assessments that some argue have zero connection to the real world. So why wouldn't we want to see if our kids understood content? I'm not saying schools do everything. I just had this conversation with my son, Joseph, earlier today about our students actually prepared to go into the real world, right? Like we don't do civics anymore. And do we even give classes anymore on understanding a lease agreement or car insurance or how to balance a checkbook? I don't know what actually takes place in most high schools anymore. We're getting rid of the readings test, clearly. Now we want to have students do portfolios, and nothing good is going to come from this. We need to ensure students who want to go to college can go to college. We want to ensure that students who want to go into career should go into career, but our CTE programs are not particularly strong. What are the regions doing? I'm still stuck on that day that I was watching Board of Regents and like somebody was on their computer and their wife walked by them in their pajamas. And I'm like, blur your background, people. Yeah, why would we not see what our children's abilities are and help lead them in the right direction? Why not talk about elections and politics and what your civic responsibilities are as a human being? Just what are your rights? Our kids are not prepared. Have you ever spoken, just had a real conversation, maybe at your grocery store with a child who's graduating from high school? We just had this happen at a local grocery store. And the girl said she was graduating, and we're like, oh, what are you going to do? And she's like, I'm going to work here. And I said, oh, that's good, because sometimes you can get into a company and it's your life career. And she said, but I don't care what they say. I'm not working any more hours than I need to. It's like, all right. So she doesn't want a career, because I think we all know we have to kill ourselves to get one of those. And I had an entire moment of, how many more kids are leaving high school and just don't know where their place is in the world? And shouldn't high schools really be preparing you and helping you form your future in some way? I'm not saying push you towards college or push you towards the military or push you towards career, but understand a student's ability and work with them. And how do you understand a student's ability if you're not testing them? There was a school I worked with in New Jersey, and they gave kind of this life test. And right now, I just can't remember the name of the test. And so I decided to take it. And there's all these questions about what do you like to do? And at the end, what it did was tell you what careers you could go into. And I thought it was so great, because if you give a student that test in 8th grade before they get into 9th, wouldn't we be able to prepare that student for what classes they should take, what they need to know? You need to have tests. You need to have some level of accountability. But we're already pushing kids out with tests. What's going to happen when we don't have them anymore? Okay. We know your thoughts on flavored coffee. Effing hate flavored coffee. It's not coffee. Drink a cup. Coffee. Want to know what it tastes like? Coffee. It's so good. Now, please share your reaction to cinnamon raisin bagels. I hate cinnamon raisin bagel. Don't put fruit with my carbs. There's absolutely zero reason. Andrea, that's the strangest question you've ever asked me. Did you know that I don't eat cinnamon raisin bagels? But you know what I do eat? I like plain bagels. Katz's Deli has the best bagels, followed by Costco. Plain bagel, toasted with cream cheese and green olive topping up. It's so yummy. that's like my go-to snack when, I let myself eat that level of carbs and cream cheese. Cinnamon raisin bagels are the worst. Go ahead, fight me. I don't care. They suck. Okay. Why would we get rid of tests? I don't think I answered those questions very well, but that last question is hilarious. Okay. So, we are catching up with a lot of our charter school friends at the end of the year. And thank you. You guys are hilarious. And I love you all so much. Thank you for your invitations to events and graduations. And I adore you. I adore all of you. Okay. So a bunch of people want to give me feedback on renewal that happened. And the first thing is somebody asked me if I saw SUNY's latest renewal video for schools coming up for renewal. And, no, why would we be invited to that, even though they know we work with their schools? So a school told us that SUNY is going to ask for a strategic plan. I was unaware that strategic plans were in the Charter Schools Act of 1998 and then amended. Oh, I know why. I don't remember that because it doesn't exist. Why are you putting more shit on your schools? Your processes are ridiculous. How much more stuff are you going to ask for? How much more stuff? You guys don't read it. I know for a fact, and I can't tell you how, that you don't read crap you get. Just another document, because strategic plans should change based on priorities. So I could hand anyone a strategic plan. I don't have to go to school. I can have a 40-minute conversation with you, say, here's your priorities, write up a plan and hand it to you. Except for priorities change, therefore your plan changes. And it should, right? Like it should change. Your priorities change. Oh, we have a facility for our incubation year. Well, we're going to have an incubation space in our strategic plan. Oh, miraculously, we got a location. Oh, look, we're going to go, right? We're going to go into this building. So you're constantly updating that plan. Or school's going to be expected every time they update it to give it to SUNY. It's how much more stuff are you going to put on schools? How much? Like, give us a heads up. Tell us, because this is crap, and we're going to call it as crap. It's not in the law for a strategic plan. Actually, 90% of your application is in the law. But stop asking for stuff, one, that you're not going to read, that you're not going to follow up on. It's not part of their accountability plan. You can't make it measurable. Oh, you know what, though? You probably will. Well, in your strategic plan, you said this. It's a fluid document. This document means nothing. Stop, SUNY. Stop. Oh my God. All right. So someone else said, when SUNY was coming to visit, they asked for 2 rooms. Schools have facility issues, and you're coming with staff and asking them to give you space, ready, that they normally use during the day. They can't say no to you. Well, they can. They won't. And you know they won't. I'm not saying that you don't need some space, but why not say to the schools, let us know what classrooms are empty when, and ask if you can schedule meetings in those classrooms. You don't need 2 rooms. You are wasting time, energy, and money. Knock it off. SUNY asked for rooms with plugs. Of course you need plugs. No one's saying that. My guess is multiple plugs is what you were looking for. So because I travel very often and I have multiple things to plug in, I appreciate the need for electricity when I work. I totally appreciate it. I have found myself standing in empty classrooms charging my phone after being out of school for 6 hours, 7 hours. Except for in my book bag, I carry a surge protector. It's this long. Has 6 plugs in it. I plug my shit into my own stuff. Because why should I inconvenience a school? A long time ago, SUNY used to ask for menus. And the last straw for me was when they asked a school in Albany, when they're located in Albany, for menus. Hasn't happened in a long time. But I made the school write back and say, you are all from Albany. You know where you can go eat. So how ridiculous is it that not only do you want space, when you know at the majority of your schools, space is a luxury. Why don't you take the time and step back and say, how can we best work with schools? Is there a place in the auditorium that won't be used? Is there a space in the cafeteria? You don't have to have a closed door thing. Transparency is king. Why would you ask somebody if you're worried about somebody else hearing the question? You're not getting your space. Schools have to start pushing back. And then the last thing was somebody asked me why SUNY insists on parent interviews. And it's like, why don't you go back and read reports for everyone? They don't have parent interviews with everyone. It's an out of touch ask. So the first part of that is a lot of parents can't make it to the school for interviews. They simply can't. It's not that they are not participating in their child's education, but somebody tell me the number of times a parent was interviewed in the last 25 years in the charter school movement. Give me a number. One number. Give me a number of how many times a parent was interviewed and it changed the renewal outcome. Oh, did you answer 0? It's ridiculous. The level of bureaucracy is pure insanity. And you add that along to new applicants who are asked to withdraw, and you got to stop and wonder, does SUNY recognize that their processes and their bureaucracy does not lend itself to being a community authorizer? Do you? As I read this stuff, it's the end of the year, people are talking, well, we won't have to go through it again for another 5 years. I'm telling schools this. Any authorizer, doesn't have to be SUNY, it can be SED, it can be, quite frankly, anyone. If they ask you for things that upset your daily routines, say no. Tell them what you are willing to do. We usually do pull out in that classroom, but hey, SUNY or SED has to sit in that class, so we're going to have to find somewhere else to do it. Think about the clients. The clients aren't even the school. The clients are the children. I bet you forgot that. Guess who didn't? Us. So am I smug and bitchy at this point? How much more crap do we have to hear before SUNY sits down as an entity and say to themselves, how can we serve our clients better? Does that seem that difficult to anyone? Anyone at all? You should feel some kind of shame at the level of bureaucracy. You should feel some type of shame. So I hope you are well. If you have stuff you want to share and have me vent, I would love to talk to you. Some of you have shared some other stuff with me, and though I love you and believe you, I want you to know I am following up, and maybe at the next video, I will hash it out publicly. I hope you're well. Be safe and have a great weekend.